And many of you may say, well, you know, I don't know much about the whole school choice movement. I don't know much about this bill. We're here today to help get you up to speed about that. Many of you are in an educational setting that is different than a public school. You're at a home school, a private school. Some of you may be at a public school. The goal of school choice is to say, and at the Family Foundation we have this principle, and we believe that parents are ultimately the ones responsible to God for the outcomes of their children. It's going to be your parents that God holds accountable for how you're educated, where you are spiritually, emotionally, physically, and we believe that the state ought to help parents do that. And it shouldn't be a matter of fact that you have to go to the assigned public school in your backyard, because that may not suit your educational needs. And so we believe that since we have a system where there are so many great private schools out there, we want more to be able to take advantage of that. I was on a radio show this morning talking about this bill, and one of the things I shared is there is school choice for those who can afford it. Parents can move to the right school district. We can pick the right, the perfect public school if that's what we want, or we can send our child to a private school. But for a lot of folks, there's not even that option. There is no financial ability to have school choice. And this is a bill that gets at sort of the very basic beginning of school choice. Ultimately, we want to see every student be funded to be able to go to a private school, to be able to keep some of their tax dollars to pick their educational environment. But for now, this bill seeks to at least get to the most disadvantaged students who have no opportunity at all. And what it does is it has the state will basically give tax credits to corporations to encourage them to be philanthropic, to encourage them to give scholarships to underprivileged kids, to send them to your schools, to send them to schools like yours. And right now, companies may or may not do that, but if they can pay a few less tax dollars in order to be helpful to their community, they will do that. And we want to encourage that kind of giving, and that's what this bill does. But the reason you're here is to help our legislators understand that there's a grassroots movement for this, that there are people that stand behind this, that want to see this happen. Legislators don't really care what I think of the Family Foundation. They don't listen to me because I walk in their office and they think, oh, Victoria Cobb and her team, they're so smart. No. They listen to us because they know we represent all of you. And when you can even be here yourself to stand in front of a legislator or to be out at a rally, then it means so much more. And so we are just so thrilled you're here.
We have got to get away from what I call a one-size-fits-all approach to education. We have got to have more flexibility, and we've got to provide more choices for parents, more choices for students. And those choices take lots of different forms. I think we need to do when you have a one-size-fits-all approach to education, you tend to teach to the middle, and you leave kids out on both ends. We need to come to a point in this educational revolution that we need to have where we understand that competition and choice is not a threat, it is a good thing. Because in education, just like anything else, I believe competition improves quality. And quality will enable our children to be able to better compete in the global marketplace of the 21st century. Now, how does that tie in with why we're here today? Not every family has the ability to provide that choice for their children. Unfortunately, what I have come to find is that the families who need to send their children to alternative educational sources and want to send their children to alternative educational sources the most, in many instances because they happen to live in communities where the public school system is not performing up to their expectations, also happen to be the families who are least capable of providing their children with those educational choices. Now let me put it to you this way. No child in Virginia should feel trapped in a failed system of public education because their family doesn't have the resources to give them a better alternative. That is unacceptable.
This is where the revolutionary side of you comes out. You must believe in your gut, in your soul, that it is imperative that we have school reform now. Not tomorrow. We do not have another generation to jeopardize. That imperative is right now. And it's interesting, too, that I am up at this point in the morning session when there are a few remaining. Now, I understand the strategy and all of that, but I'll tell you, it was by design. If you go back and look at how the world has been revolutionized by the gospel, how many men? Wow. Didn't need 100, did he? So you are the ones right here and right now that will revolutionize education for the 21st century. So I'd like to say this. If we continue to do the same thing, the same way, we will get the same results. So I'm going to ask you something, revolutionaries. Will you join with the Family Foundation and others across our country in revolutionizing education for the 21st century for every child? Every child deserves a choice and a chance.
I can't tell you how nice it is to be here with people who are involved in the democratic process, people who are not taking their freedom for free. And I really appreciate you all showing up and participating today. We've got Delegate Bill Janus getting ready to join us here as well. And Delegate Greason is coming in the back over there as well. Tag's been a great co-chief, co-patron along with Algie Howell and me. But talking about freedom, living in a free country, what could be more free in a free country than parents choosing where they send their children to school? Right. And that's what our Educational Improvement Scholarship Program is all about. It's about empowering parents to make the best decisions for their children. This bill passed in Florida in 2001 with one Democratic legislator supporting the bill. There are now 33,000 kids whose lives are being changed every day in Florida on the program, 8,400 kids in Florida on the waiting list. And in 2010, the Florida legislature passed a major expansion of the program, got an 80-some% vote in the House, 71% in their Senate, because it works. They know it works. You have a majority of Democrats in the House supporting the bill. And that's where we are in Virginia. We're at 2001 in Virginia. We had 3 Democrats out of 39 in the House this week that supported the bill. We got the bill out of the House. Last year we didn't have 1 Democrat in the Senate that supported the bill. So we're in 2001 in Florida, and what we need to do is to get that, go visit our Democrats and get them to support the bill. The bill helps the kids. It saves the state money, and competition actually improves the public schools. And so it is absolutely the right thing to do. So I really, really appreciate you all being here today. You all are, I'm an old business person, and we have some other business people over here. You all are our customers, our constituents. The more we stay in touch with our constituents, the more feedback from our constituents we get, the better. So I really thank you for being here today. And if you have not already, please go up there to the Senate side, identify those Senate Finance Committee members who are going to vote on our bill next Tuesday or Wednesday, and go visit them and tell them that you want a choice, and that 65% of Virginians are demanding a choice on where they send their kids to school, and they know the program works because it's working in Florida. So thank you very much for being here, and please, please, please tell your family and friends, and go visit your senators today and tell them to support House Bill 2314 when it comes up in the Senate Finance Committee next Tuesday or Wednesday. Thank you.
We have some fantastic public schools in Virginia, but is that a reason to say no to making our schools and making our families and making our educational choices better? Is it? Absolutely not. Let me give you some statistics. Out of 34 industrialized countries in the world, you think America is first in reading? No. America is 14th among those 34 industrialized countries in teaching reading. American students are 17th in science and 25th in math. Our schools, as good as they are here in Virginia, can be and must be better. Amen. And in order to do that, what better way than to give our public schools a little bit of extra motivation? I ran for office in the Shenandoah Valley, and I'll never forget. One time I went to a school board debate, and I heard a school board member stand up in front of a group of parents and families of public school students, and he said, I believe and I understand that school choice is right around the corner. And I pray that school choice is indeed right around the corner. But that school board member running for re-election said, I want to tell you my vision for the schools in my county. My vision is for the public schools to be the school of choice for the kids in my county. Now, it may not be your choice. It may not be my choice. But in talking to the people up in that building, making choices available is going to motivate our public schools to do a better job, and it's going to give you and families across Virginia the opportunity to make the choice that is right for yourselves and right for your families. We are leaving kids behind left and right all over Virginia. And it is our moral, it is our obligation that is given us by God to do something about it. And we're going to keep up this fight. I appreciate you all making the trip to Richmond. Let's go out and hit those halls and strike one for school choice. Thanks so much.
I bring greetings from Governor Bob McDonnell and members of the administration. As many of you know, this is one of the governor's bills. There are 4 pillars upon which this administration rests, and one of them is education. The governor is very clear that in order to have an educated Virginia and a strong workforce, they have to go hand in hand. The governor is also well aware of the role that private schools play in reaching his goal for a more educated Virginia, and this is a step in the right direction. The Education Improvement Scholarship is nothing new in America. Florida, of course, is an example. We also have Georgia and Arizona and Rhode Island and Pennsylvania. Some of these places I've actually had a chance to visit. And I've had a chance to visit with the frontline people who have to live day to day with the consequences of public policy. And these are parents and these are business owners. Many parents I've talked to have said the scholarship that they receive has helped them enroll their child in the school of their option for their child because it works. Businesses have said that this is a great investment for them for a whole host of reasons. You're going to hear people say that we should not give public money to private schools, particularly religious or parochial schools. Remember that some of the lawmakers that we have here today have graduated from undergrad or graduate school that has a religious affiliation, and some of them have actually received a grant from the federal government, public money going to support their education. This is a centuries-old role. The public money has been involved in religious education for over a century. This is simply an education improvement scholarship to provide options to some of our lower-income families who want a school and who want an option for them. We're glad to be a part of this team. We're glad to be a part of this administration. And more importantly, this is going to make sure that all of you are having the best and brightest to take care of our Commonwealth when we move forward. So with that, I want to thank you for your time.
George Washington is my favorite president because I think he's such a great example of how to handle power, how not to abuse it, how not to use it to overlord over people. And you know who George Washington gives credit for his education to? Not Harvard, he didn't go. Not Yale, he didn't go. Not Princeton, he didn't go. He gives the credit for his education to his mother. To his mother. His mother was responsible for bringing tutors in and for helping George Washington to get educated. I think she did a pretty good job, don't you? I think she did a pretty good job. Now, I have talked to superintendents of schools who have been misguided, who have said to me, look, when the parents have them, then the parents control. But when we have them, then we're under control, and the parents should step aside and let us do our jobs. That's not what our Constitution intends. That's not what the Founding Fathers intend. And I got news for you. That's not what God intends. God intends for parents to have control over the education of our children, and we are here to say we're taking that control back. We're going to make sure that we are making those decisions for our children. So I want to encourage you. You know, the Bible says These words you shall teach to your children diligently when you go in and when you go out and when you sit down and when you walk by the way, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and write them on the gates and put them on your hands and put them in the frontlets between your eyes. The Bible charges parents with the responsibility for making sure that our children know about government, know about God, and know about those things that we think are essential to their lives. So you kids who are here, thank your parents for having the courage to take a stand in your behalf. And so, my friends, these legislators are heirs to George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, Patrick Henry. And I'll tell you something, I'm proud to call them our legislators because I think that they have stepped into that mantle and they are carrying it for us. Let's encourage them. Let's give them a hand. We thank God for them, for our governor, for the Secretary of Education. Now let's go take back the education of our children. This is the first step. God bless you.